White button mushroom is probably one of the most powerful food aromatase inhibitors on earth. And I'm the first person that I know of, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, to test with before and after lab work to see if it actually works. But the awesome thing is it's not just an aromatase inhibitor, it has a bunch of other benefits as well. So let's get into it. So the reason why I tested white button mushroom is because there's only in vitro studies, which is basically cell cultures, not in animals or in humans, that shows that white button mushroom can inhibit aromatase. And very often you will see that what happens in an animal does not transfer to a human, especially if it's in vitro as well. So a lot of people's like, hey, just consume white button mushroom, it inhibits aromatase. And then I don't like claims like that you can't back up with your own evidence or evidence from someone else that has actually tested it. So this is the in vitro study where they compared it to DMSO, which has zero aromatase inhibiting effects. And then you have the water extract of white button mushroom that was a very powerful aromatase inhibitor. So it basically crushed the aromatase activity to under 15%. This is what white button mushroom did, but again, like it was in vitro. So I thought like, okay, I'm going to do a bunch of aromatase inhibiting experiments with all different compounds, see which one works the best. White button mushroom was on the list. So now why white button mushroom? If you compare it to everyday vegetables, there's a lot. You have spinach at the top, which is the black squares, and then you have the white button mushroom that's here at the bottom. It's by far the most powerful one compared to all of the other ones. The one that has moderate aromatase inhibiting properties here seems to be celery. But apart from that, the ones that I tested, nothing really seems to move the needle. And then in terms of different mushrooms, stuffing mushroom, which is white button mushroom, seemed to be the most effective at inhibiting aromatase. And then second best was Italian brown mushroom. Portabella was on there as well, so which is the large grill mushrooms. Shiitake mushroom was here roughly in the middle somewhere. And then enoki mushroom, which is to me very interesting because it's a very dense source of adenosine. And adenosine helps with vasodilation, erections, and can actually help to increase testosterone, was up here. So from all of these mushrooms, white button mushroom was by far the best. Now, the potential downside with white button mushroom or mushrooms in general is that it can inhibit 5-alpha reductase and lower your aromatase. But the one here at the bottom is white button mushroom seems to have the least effect on 5-alpha reductase, with things like reishi and lion's mane being the most powerful. Now, I don't know how applicable that is in humans because I think, again, it's only in vitro or animal studies that show that it inhibits 5-alpha reductase. And I don't know of anyone that has actually tasted it with blood work. So I might be also running those experiments in the future. But based on this in vitro study, white button mushroom had the least effect on 5-alpha reductase. Even oyster mushroom came up top with inhibiting 5-alpha reductase, which is unfortunate because oyster mushroom is also a really good aromatase inhibitor. Not as good as white button, but also good. Now, other benefits of white button mushroom is that it improves gut health and the microbiome. It boosts beneficial bacteria like Prevotella copri, which is directly correlated with IGF-1. It raises the IgA by 50% and it calms gut inflammation. So if you ever consistently consume the white button mushroom and you have never experienced a ghost spike before, white button mushroom is probably the most likely to give you a ghost spike. It's really amazing. It's great for metabolic and liver health, so it helps to reduce fat synthesis, it drops your LDL, and it lowers liver fibrosis risk. It helps with immune modulation, that basically helps to reduce inflammation. And it trains the macrophages and natural killer cells via the beta-glucans for stronger antiviral and anti-tumor defense. It has hormonal and androgen modulation, so for example, the supposed mechanism by how it lowers aromatase is because it contains the linoleic acid and CLA. Now, if that was the case, then people consuming polyunsaturated fatty acids would have almost no aromatase, and that is obviously not the case. So it's due to other compounds, probably the polysaccharides in the white button mushroom, that's responsible for inhibiting aromatase. There are some evidence to suggest that it might be a mild androgen receptor antagonist in the prostate and lung tissue. Now, just because it happens in the prostate and lung tissue doesn't mean it's going to happen anywhere else in the body. Personally, I did not experience any anti-androgenic effects while using it. I was making great gym gains, sexual function was on point, mood, motivation, and drive, everything was on point. In terms of anti-cancer potential, it helps to shrink the prostate tumor size and drop your PSA, It slows aromatase-dependent breast cancer cell growth as well. So estrogen is a very powerful stimulator of cell growth, which then contributes to tumor growth, cancers, prostate cancers, etc. Research has actually shown that using a aromatase inhibitor can shrink the prostate more than using a 5-alpha reductase inhibitor. In terms of brain and cognitive function, it raises neurotransmitter precursors. It also helps with fewer amyloid plaques in animal models. Now, the thing is, like, what is really driving your aromatase? Because using white button mushroom is going to be great for inhibiting aromatase, but you have to understand what is basically driving your aromatase. A huge reason for that is inflammation, which is then driving up insulin resistance, lowering your thyroid, lowering 5-alpha reductase, and this is why you want to lower your endotoxin. And endotoxin is a massive contributor to inflammation, and a lot of people these days have some form of a gut issue. So you want to make sure that you're addressing endotoxin. And then also I have a huge guide on estrogen management. So this is aromatase inhibition, the ratios, methylation, liver detox, gut reabsorption. It addresses every single thing that I have tested, and I've put in only the things that really freaking works. Both of those links will be in the description below. So if you don't know who I am, I'm Hans Amato. I've been doing research since 2011, and I've been doing extensive testing since 2022. And when I talk about extensive experimentation and self-testing, I'm talking about not just doing blood tests, but stool tests, organic acid tests, lipid tests, lactate testing, urinary hormone testing, so much more. You can learn from just doing one blood test, but if you do repeated testing over multiple different kinds of tests, this is when you really start to learn things. And now since 2024 to now, I've been the healthiest I've ever been. This is just cutting a long story short. More details to who I am in the description below. So how I actually felt on consuming white button mushroom. So I consumed 420 grams of white button mushroom a day. During this experiment, I was doing canned mushrooms, but at the moment, I'm just doing the fresh stuff that I fry. So keep in mind that canned mushrooms are already more dehydrated than the fresh stuff. White button mushroom is about 90% water. So if you fry them or cook them, they will dramatically shrink. So I would say when aiming for a gram amount, shoot for the cooked amount, not the fresh amount. If it's fresh, go for higher, like 500 grams or more. So I looked significantly leaner. It looks like as if I was using Masteron, like very vascular, very lean, because it helps to reduce inflammation. So before using white button mushroom, I just finished a gut protocol. So there was still some residual inflammation going on, which I will get into in just a moment. I was experiencing zero downsides, as I have mentioned. Now, in terms of the lab work that I've experienced, my testosterone was around just over 3,000. This was because I'm using 450 milligrams of testosterone and enanthate per week at that point. The reason I'm doing this is for muscle building purposes. My estradiol dropped from 150 to under 100, like 95. It was a 35% reduction. My testosterone to estrogen ratio, which was 23:1, which was already really good, went up to 32:1. Clearly showing by not just dropping estrogen, because sometimes a compound will drop estrogen and increase testosterone. You always want to look at the ratio, not just the absolute value. So the ratio improved significantly. This is always what I'm looking at. My SHBG went from 10 to 14, which is good because you do not want to have too little SHBG. In terms of my liver enzymes, so they were a little bit elevated, but as I mentioned, it was still residual die-off that I was experiencing from doing a gut protocol. And I did stool tests along here to see what was actually going on. And after the stool protocol, I still had some residual inflammation and pathogenic bacterial overgrowth that was contributing to the inflammation. So my ALT was basically stagnant around the 30s. AST dropped from 56 to 43. My ferritin, this was extremely interesting, dropped from almost 500 to almost 250, which is almost a 50% reduction. Now, most of this could be said like, yeah, it's just because inflammation went down, ferritin came down as well, but my transferrin saturation remained exactly the same. Because if you have inflammation, transferrin saturation goes down, ferritin up. My transferrin saturation did not. The ferritin dropped significantly. So maybe it's a combination of it's enhancing the excretion of iron and also lowering inflammation and therefore reducing ferritin. My highly sensitive CRP dropped from a 3.9, as I mentioned, I had some residual inflammation left from the gut protocol, to a 0.6. And this was in 2 weeks. You guys have to understand, like, the results that I got was from 2 weeks of use. People's like, what do I do about my inflammation? Well, you can use fish oils, you can use glycine, maybe add some curcumin and NAC in there as well. Nothing is going to work as powerfully and as good and fast as a food will. This is why I always advocate you have to change the diet, make dietary changes first instead of adding a supplement, because what you can achieve with a diet is far superior than you can with a supplement. But white button mushroom at the doses is what I basically call a food supplement. In terms of thyroid, my free T3 dropped from 4.7 to a 4.4, but I didn't experience any hypothyroid symptoms. My TSH also dropped. I wasn't getting cold hands and feet. I was getting zero hypothyroid symptoms. So this decrease doesn't mean much to me. My IGF-1 dropped from 140 to 120. My baseline is basically around there. So you could think that maybe white button mushroom reduced my IGF-1 a little bit, but again, my baseline is around there. So it fluctuates. My total cholesterol was 6.5 before this experiment. They dropped to 5.1. The marker, the test that I did before that was a 5.3. So it was even better than before. It was increasing and then decreasing to a 5.1, which are some of the best cholesterol markers that I've ever gotten. Clearly showing that it's also working as a good binder. So it could inhibit the production of cholesterol, but it can also work as a really good binder in the gut. That when the cholesterol is being excreted, it binds to it and you just poop it out. So here's what worked really well, right? My testosterone to estrogen ratio massively improved. My AST, hsCRP, and ferritin and cholesterol all improved amazingly, and I had zero side effects of doing this. What you have to watch out for is doing this long term, you have to do tests, is that I did get a slight dip in my growth hormone, IGF-1, and free T3. Was that a bad thing? Would have continued to drop? I don't know. But I have been consuming white button mushrooms since then, but not in that doses and not as often because I don't need it. And all of those markers are on point. So here's the whole takeaway, is that before using white button mushroom or trying to modulate my estrogen naturally, I was using aromatase. And at one point, I had to use 50 milligrams of aromatase with only 250 milligrams of testosterone per week just to manage my estrogen. And it wasn't even optimal at that point. Then I started fixing things with my gut, used white button mushroom, and got the best testosterone to estrogen ratio that I've ever gotten from any food. So instead of trying to modulate your estrogen with a pharmaceutical aromatase inhibitor, rather focus on diet and food, because I can guarantee you it's going to have significantly better effects. As I mentioned, the guide is in the description below, so be sure to check that out. Thanks for watching, and I'll check you in the next one.